Stop for a moment, not scrolling, not listening halfway. Stop. Because if you're here, something in you is already breaking. Not falling apart, but breaking open. And the reason nothing you've tried has worked is because you're not dealing with a surface problem. You're standing at a threshold most people avoid for their entire lives. This is not motivation. This is not mindset. This is initiation. My name is Virginia, and before I could guide anyone through transformation, I had to survive my own nervous system. For most of my life, my inner world was hostile. Relentless anxiety, heavy depression, many diagnoses, a body that never felt safe to relax. By my mid-20s, I was heavily medicated, max doses, antidepressants, ADHD medication. I was told this is just how my brain worked and that I'd be managing it indefinitely. At the same time, my body began breaking down. I was diagnosed at a young age with severe PCOS, a condition that is deeply tied to stress, hormones, and nervous system overload. I had surgery, repeated hospital visits, and long-term hormone treatment. And my womb, which is the center for creation and emotions, was inflamed, dysregulated, and shut down. From the outside, I looked functional, but inside, I was in survival mode every single day. And something in me knew that if this was normal, then something was very wrong. Then everything cracked. I had an awakening experience that ripped the illusion of control out of my hands. And what followed was not peace, it was reckoning. The pain that I had buried for years, personal, ancestral, emotional, it just began flooding my system, and my body started releasing what it had been holding on to just to keep me alive. There was no bypassing. There was no love and light, spiritual gloss. There was no escaping the descent into darkness. And I learned very quickly, you don't awaken into light. You awaken into truth. And the truth is destabilizing when your nervous system has never felt safe. Here's what no one tells you. Awareness without containment will break you. Intensity without integration will fragment you. And insights without structure will leave you worse off than you were before. I didn't need more experiences. I didn't need more teachers or guides. I didn't need more techniques. I needed ground. I needed discipline that wasn't punishment. I needed structure that wasn't rigid. And consistency that could hold the fire without letting it burn everything down. So I rebuilt my life from the ground up. I stripped away anything that destabilized my system. And I committed to ruthless honesty in my habits. I built daily structure, movement, nourishment, and routine, not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. And slowly, painfully, something shifted. My moods stabilized, my body softened, and my nervous system learned that it didn't have to stay armed. Today, I'm not on any medication. I'm emotionally regulated. I'm not sick. I'm healthy, consistent, clear, not healed by avoidance, but healed by containment. And this is the part that most people don't understand, is that when emotional blocks dissolve, your life doesn't just feel better, it functions differently. Clarity returns because your energy is no longer tied up in protection. Your confidence stabilizes because you're not second guessing your own impulses. You stop leaking energy into overthinking, people pleasing, and self-sabotage. Your decisions become cleaner. Your boundaries become natural. And your yes and your no carry weight. This is where people finally step into the work that feels aligned instead of draining, increase their income because they're no longer shrinking or hesitating. They attract healthier relationships, personal and professional. They follow through on their goals without forcing themselves. And they feel a genuine sense of purpose instead of constant striving. Not because they tried harder, but because nothing inside them was fighting anymore. And once I stabilized, something else happened. People started finding me, not because I marketed transformation, but because I actually embodied it. And since then, I've guided countless people through emotional release, nervous system repair, and identity level shifts. I've held rooms full of people who finally let go of grief that they'd been carrying for their entire lives. Not through force, but through safety. Because when somebody feels held, the truth comes out on its own. This is what my coaching sessions are built for. Not advice, not fixing, not performance-based spirituality. This is root level work. We go to the exact emotional moment where your system learned to contract, where you decided it wasn't safe to want more, to be seen, to receive, or to fully expand. And we don't rip it open. We let it unwind. Because when the whole body feels safe, the patterns don't need to be fought. They just dissolve. Here's what changes when the emotional block at the root is released. You think clearly because your energy is no longer tied up in survival. You trust yourself because your confidence becomes stable, not performative. You stop overworking and under receiving. You start earning, creating, and leading from alignment instead of exhaustion. And your relationships improve because you're no longer relating from defense or scarcity. Your purpose becomes obvious because nothing inside you is pulling you in the opposite direction. This isn't about becoming more disciplined. It's about becoming undivided. Because when the system is regulated, clarity, confidence, income, fulfillment, and follow through become natural side effects. This work is for you if you're capable but constrained, you're self-aware but stuck, you're disciplined yet exhausted from holding yourself together, you're not afraid of depth, you're afraid of staying half alive. This is your threshold. You can keep circling it, calling it patience, timing, or more preparation. Or you can step into a container designed to hold real transformation. Book a coaching session below, not because you're broken, but because you're ready. This isn't self-improvement, it's initiation. And initiation changes how you live, love, lead, and create. So when you're ready to step through, I'll meet you on the other side.